is Susan Ashley and welcome to my YouTube channel, Susan Kassandra. Today I have a very interesting video for you, and this video is about an experience I had a few nights ago, and it is so profound that I felt there's no way I can't share it with the world. Okay, so it's not so easy for me to talk about because it's very deep and personal. I was laying in bed and I was doing evening prayers. You know how you do prayers, you ask for help for people and things like this. And then suddenly it was like it was like I went into another world, and I had this full memory, this full body experience of a past life that I was actually in, of meeting Jesus Christ for the first time. And in this experience that I had, I felt so much love, so much bliss throughout my whole body. It just sort of like melted under the bliss and took hold of me. And all my cells were vibrating at this frequency of Jesus Christ. And my joy at meeting him, the feeling of meeting him, and I remember thinking, this is what people have been talking about. When he walks past you, when he's near you, you get this overwhelming feeling of peace and love and bliss, and this opening of all of your cells to this vibration. And then I allowed that. I thought to myself, I'm just going to allow this to go through my whole body and allow myself to experience it. It's just overwhelmingly beautiful. And then I had this thought, there's no one like this on the earth at the moment. And then I was just, I just wanted to go to sleep because of this warmth that I was feeling. Oh, I'd love to go to sleep with this feeling, you know. So I was almost asleep, and then I audibly heard someone screaming at me. And of course, you know, in a split second, I bolted up and I thought someone has broken in and they're standing over me screaming at me. But when I opened my eyes, it was demonic. And so there was this demonic being, and it was showing me how it was affecting the people around me. So not how it was affecting people's minds. And it was this beast, this demon was basically saying, you know, there's nothing you can do. It was taunting me, and it was showing me how it was entering the people around me, people around me, minds, and how it was destroying their minds with horrible thoughts and negativity and, you know, fear and all this, and how people's minds were splitting from all of this. And it was showing me how it was getting into people's minds through you know, and taunting me the whole time, like there's nothing you can do, we've got a hold of all these people. And it was like really a disgusting experience, to be honest, you know. And it was kind of, I could feel people's minds going crazy. You know how sometimes you see these images of someone in conflict and their minds got all these squares and compartments in it. It was like this, but I could see people's anguish as well, because these demons weren't leaving them alone with all this negative thoughts. And, you know, they were targeting certain people, and particularly young people, right? So it was young people they were targeting, and they were targeting their brains, young adults. And it was really horrible. And so I was there, and I was going, okay, what can I do? Because this demon was taunting me. And then this thought came into my head, pray to Jesus. So I started to say, okay, I'm praying to Jesus. Now this is the interesting fact. So I'm praying to Jesus. I started to feel calmer. And then I realized, but the demon wasn't going away. But then I realized, no, I have to feel it. Like I just felt it a few minutes ago. I have to feel this presence inside me and open my heart to it. And when I did that, the whole thing left. Okay, so the demon left and the whole thing left. Then so then I was going back to sleep again. All right. And so I'm going back to sleep. I've recovered from it. I'm going back to sleep, and it happened again. So I'm bolt upright with this screaming, and now the demon is showing me. It's showing me what it's doing to children, okay. So I'm currently in an area of the world that is quite dark, and I happen to be here for a reason. Okay. And so it was showing me these kill rooms and these abuse rooms that they have young children. And this demon was showing me what they were doing to the children and laughing and taunting me again. Like, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. Look, we can do whatever we like. Listen to their screams. And they were literally showing me how they were abusing children, torturing children. I was hearing the screams, feeling their terror, the terror of these children. And it was really hard, really difficult for me not to, completely lose my own mind. And so I thought to myself, because this demon was just like showing me, and when they're showing you something, sometimes you get hooked into it. And so I could see how my energy was leaning into it, okay? And then this thought came, pray to Jesus, pray to Jesus. So then I again started to pray to Jesus. And then I remembered, no, I have to feel it. So I'm going to point all of this out at the end. So I'm thinking, okay, I've got to feel it. I've got to feel it. So I started to feel again. I started to remember what it was like, that feeling of meeting him, And then once I did that, the whole thing vanished again. Okay. So then I'm going back to sleep again, which is unusual in itself, but I'll explain that in a minute. So I'm going back to sleep again, and a third time it happens. So remember, 1, 2, 3. So the third time it happens, I'm bolt upright, and there's this demons. Now it's a group of demons, and they're showing me what they're doing to everyone on the planet, and they're showing me the way that they've invaded the media, they've invaded the medical, the big pharma, they've invaded politics, and basically what they were taunting me, moving around me saying, and there's nothing you can do, what can your God do, you're a worthless piece of shit, you're all worthless, and really taunting me and pressuring me to believe that there was nothing I could do. And they're showing me how they have permeated all of, and I often talk about this in my guides, the 5 families. So the 5 families are big pharma, medicine, science, religion, philosophy, education, and education is also media, right? So it's any form of education, which is music, media, all of these different areas, magazines, schools, universities, politics and finances, right? So I know that they've permeated this. So they're showing me that as a collective. That's why I had 5 demons circling me, right? Each one representing the higher realms of the abuse that's being done on humankind. And so they're taunting me, and they're saying to me, there's nothing you can do, there's nothing you can do. And they're showing me how they have entered our societies, our communities, our hearts, our homes. And, they were basically saying, what can your God do for you now? You're useless, you're worthless, your God is worthless, there's nothing you can do, we're going to take over. And they're showing me how they are literally destroying us from every single angle. And so then I did the same thing again. So then once I sort of witnessed this for a while and experienced this for a few minutes, because when you have these sort of experiences, it's like a download. You witness a lot of things all at once. It's like, if you have a car accident or you have something happen, it happens all at once, but there's a lot of things that happen all at once. And then you sort of have to dissect them afterwards. What was everything going on? So by the third round, I realized, I don't just call on Jesus, I feel Jesus, I allow Jesus to enter my being, right, to enter my heart. And so I did this, and then it dissipated, and I went back to sleep. Okay. And then I was woken in the middle of the night with a voice saying a sentence to me that was quite strong, and it said, you need to remember this. When you wake up in the morning, you need to remember this. And then when I woke up in the morning, they said, do you remember what we told you last night? I went, yes, and I wrote it down. But that was personal, right? So then I was kind of like in shock about what had happened. You know, these 3 times I was like, and I was a little bit in shock because I believe that I'm very protected. And I have experienced a lot of demonic interference and alien, all this negative. And I'm very, very strong in myself. And I feel that I'm very protected. And so I was like, why did this happen? And then I got the message that it was a controlled situation. So it was all controlled, and it was controlled by Jesus, actually, to show me the power of his vibration, which is within me. It's within you. It's within all of us. It's the Christ consciousness. It's unity consciousness. It's within all of us. And so what I realized, there was 3 levels to this, right? 3 demonic levels. There was 3 levels to what they were doing. First, it was the young adults, and how they were breaking up their minds, and they were doing it with, okay, you've got anxiety. Well, so they're plying them with all these thoughts and everything through the media, and then, of course, they get anxiety because they're getting these subliminal messages, and they go and they get medication, which is doing more damage to their biochemical structure, and then, all the music and all the push for, to be highly sexualized and all of this. So there was that. And then there was the young children and how they're sexualizing the young children, but also abusing them in secret, because what they showed me were actually kill rooms and torture rooms in the place where I'm not actually in the building I'm living in, but in the country that I'm in at the moment and the surrounding countries. So they showed me that. And then in the third one, they showed me what they're doing to the world. And what I noticed here, because I notice here often at times, I feel like this dark grid. It's like a web over the country. And sometimes I feel like we get locked in like this pressure cooker to think and behave and feel in a certain way. So they basically showed me this over the whole world. But the most important thing, so they're showing me their intention, they're showing me what they have been doing and what they intend to continue doing. But what I learned was the solution. Because, I'm all about solutions. I don't talk about negative things to someone unless I have a solution at the end. Unfortunately, a lot of people think, she's just being negative, so I don't want to listen to her. And they don't listen to the end. They tune off. And they don't hear the solution. Because it's in my understanding, right, that we can't resolve anything unless we know what we're up against. So I know it's really hard for people to look at the negative and go, oh my God, this is happening. Oh, I'll just shut down. No, I'm just going to be positive, and I'm not even going to associate with that person over there because, they keep telling me the problem with the vaccines or the problem with this or the problem with that. And I shouldn't really be saying that word, but they keep talking about the problems with everything, and I just want to concentrate on the positive, which is very, very important. There's nothing wrong with concentrating on the positive. In fact, that's what we need to do. However, if we're concentrating on the positive in an illusion, and we're not doing it as a solution, and we're not understanding what we're countering in our positive, and we're shutting ourselves down from reality, then the energy that you're putting into the positive has no real impact. It goes like this, for many years we talk about positive affirmations, and people would say to me, I've been doing all these positive affirmations and things are starting to shift, but as soon as I stop doing the positive affirmations, it goes back to the way it was before. Right? So that's a false thing. So when you're doing this positivity, you've got to look at what was blocking the positivity in the first place. So with positive affirmations, if you say to your, if you're saying, okay, my positive affirmation, and I hear this a lot, is to win the lotto, 15 million, 10 million, but your brain can't even function on like receiving 100 grand a year in wages. So the difference between what you're positively wanting and what your mind and your heart will accept is such a huge gap, right? So that's why it doesn't work, because you're trying to go, because all of the teachings, this new age teachings, which I really have never been part of, but a lot of people like to put me in that category, but I've never been part of it. It's because it's irrational. A lot of it's irrational, and I call it controlled opposition, because a lot of it's just this illusion of positivity, and the only person who's making money is the person who's selling you the snake oil in the first place, because your mind and your emotional frequency can't go here when it's sitting here. So here is where the negative pain is, and people don't want to go into that to actually clear it so they can get here. And the reason that the people are successful and they get here is because they've actually cleared their stuff, right? Because they wholeheartedly believe that they are worth that 15 million. And yeah, I can hear people saying, but what about people who do actually win lotto that have nothing? Maybe that's their karma. Maybe there's a different angle to that. But anyway, what I want to say is, more importantly, that the energy of Jesus Christ is a solution. That is the solution to what's going on right now. And I want you to really look at that, because how we see Jesus is warped. Okay, we see Jesus as someone who's suffered, and we see God, to get to God, we have to suffer. That is not true. So the darkness used that whole Jesus lifetime to turn it around and tell other people who hold that unity consciousness and that idea of love and connection and brother and sisterhood, that we will be persecuted for that. And this is what will happen if you think along those lines and if you are a healer. And of course, that's been proven throughout the lifetimes with the Inquisition and certain things that have happened to people who are gifted. So we have been held back. But the thing was, for me, was that all of us hold that Christ consciousness within our heart. And that is the key. The key is to go into our heart, because when we're in our head, we can easily be controlled, because the mind can justify anything as reality. The mind can justify an immoral act, an unintegral act. It can justify it. So I stole that because those people have more than me and they won't even miss it, so it's okay. I took that because they have insurance, so they'll get the money from insurance. It doesn't matter that I did that. It's a win-win situation. So you see how the mind can justify any sort of behavior. It's the same with abusing young children. Oh, well, they won't remember. They won't remember the abuse, so it's okay. They'll forget it. Or, I'm helping them to learn about love. We will justify anything in our minds to suit our depravity, right? And even when I look at religion, I'm not into religion at all, because I see that as a trap too. And this is a big issue with the energy of Jesus Christ, is it's so sewn into religion that those of us that are in alignment with it hold ourselves back, because we don't want to be associated with a religion that abuses children and abuses people, right? I don't even want to go into that. But what I'm saying is that there's a lot being presented to us over these thousands of years to make us not want to accept Jesus Christ in our heart, because we've been placed in our head. And our head can justify anything, but the heart knows the truth. And Jesus lived in his heart. He lived in his heart 100%. And that's why he was able to perform the miracles that he could. And we all hold that. We all hold that frequency. We all hold the ability to live in our heart, and our heart will tell us the truth. The heart will tell us and guide us whether or not something is moral or immoral, ethical or unethical, because those universal laws and truths reside mostly as a barometer of the heart. So the key is to listen to your heart and not justify your behaviour in your head. And that's what the devil, the demons, want us to do. They're putting us in our head. You see what they showed me? They're putting us in our head. And they're wanting us to justify our bad behaviour. And they're turning everything around. You only have to look at some of the crap that's out there on YouTube justifying perverse sexuality, justifying, bad behaviour. And I'm not at all, like I said, I'm not religious. I have been involved in different religions from a perspective of wanting to know and wanting to understand and a search for knowledge, but not from, because what I found in those religions actually was that most people didn't live what they were preaching. And that made me very disappointed and very disgusted, actually. And even more bad behaviour was justified as a result, because one could go on Sunday and have our sins dissolved by some man sitting there in black and repeat the same thing on Monday. So for me, that didn't cut, And I also found in Buddhism was this detachment from the heart. It was about the mind being detached. But there were good things about both sides, and also with Islam as well. So, religion is a trap. It's a trap for men to justify bad behaviour and controlling and having authority over others. You don't need a priest, an imam, or a monk to tell you how to live. You have it all in your heart. And the journey to the heart is sometimes lonely at first, and sometimes it's difficult because the head wants to justify. The mind wants to know. It searches out, It wants to justify. It wants to know why, how, when, and all this, but the heart accepts. So that's a whole different thing to talk about. But that whole experience that I had, I wanted to share with you, because it's basically what the demonic forces are doing at the moment, and how you can release yourself is by accepting Jesus Christ in your heart. And to also start to unravel and decode what has been coded in you around Jesus Christ and what it means to accept him. Because I know that some of you listening have been involved in the church and been very disappointed, so you push that away. Some of you want to justify the way that you've been living, so you've pushed it away. And some of you really understand what I'm saying and the truth of what I'm saying, right? Because it is important to bring that into our heart. I know I actually, since that experience, it was a few days ago, I feel like something has really shifted in me, and at times I feel like there is a crack in my head that's going on at the moment, when you have that sort of like dark night of the soul, because you're realizing a lot of things, and I'm seeing a lot more things a lot more clearly, and how this demonic energy has invaded so much of our daily lives, and so much of what we're experiencing at the moment. And it's the key to that is to and I think the reason they showed it to me was because also they're showing me the different levels of it and how it's permeated the different stages of society, but also I feel that they showed that to me to show me what I'm up against and what that Christ and energy can do, because it really dissipated as soon as I accepted that in my heart. It dissipated. It wasn't from my mind, from asking, from reaching out, Christ, please help me, Jesus, please help me. It didn't come from that. It came from me allowing that vibration to emanate from me. So it wasn't about him saving me. It was me allowing myself to accept that vibration is part of me. That was the important thing, the important lesson that I learned from it. So let me think if there's anything else, any other insight I can gather. I'm sure that some of you listening will sort of piece other things together about that, because I felt it was in layers, and I felt they were showing me that, oh, that's right, that I needed to know what I was dealing with in order to release not only myself but others from it. So its hold has to do with our mind, not our heart. And if you look, I think it's fascinating, if you look at, how we've all been in this lockdown and separated and all of this, and all the messages that it's giving us is that we should be afraid of each other. Another human being is the enemy. Human beings are the enemy, right? We are their enemy because we hold the light of God within us. They don't hold the light. So, they're kind of showing us in a way how powerful they are. And they're also showing us how they have permeated those 5 families that I spoke of. They have control of them, and they believe that they have control of us. And I don't think I think what it was showing me also too, it's not about us picking up a sword and killing. It's not about us doing that sort of thing. It's about us surrendering to the unity consciousness of Jesus Christ and what his teachings were. And it was very simple. It wasn't complicated. And all these men who were scholars of the Bible or whatever, interpreting it in their own way and saying, well, women have to behave like that and men have to behave like this, and all this crap is just pushing us all away, because they are controlled opposition to Jesus' word also. And it's not about some other force controlling us either. Jesus didn't control his disciples. He didn't control the community that followed him. He wasn't their authority figure, not at all. So, I think that religion has a lot to answer for, and it has been a key to this demonic entry, actually. And so I'd suggest that people do a little bit of research on that as well. But I just wanted to share that with you because I think I'm going to do more on that Christed energy and how we can tap into it. But really it's about sitting in your heart. It's as simple as that, calling it into your heart and allowing it to be present in your being. And that will influence then your mind, because, I've been saying this for years. The mind is in service to the heart. And that's the truth. So with that, I will love you and leave you, and I look forward to any comments and any insights that people might have about that experience that I had. And I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Lots of love. Please subscribe and do all of that. Bye.